You look in the mirror one morning and realize the person staring back at you looks thirsty. It's not just that you see a few new lines or a bit of gravity taking its toll. It's the texture itself. Your skin, which used to have that distinct bounce, that snapback quality you never really thought about, suddenly feels like fine parchment paper. You pinch your cheek, and instead of springing back instantly, it takes a sluggish second to return to place. You've been drinking your 8 glasses of water a day. You've been slathering on the thickest moisturizers you can find. And yet, by noon, your face feels tight, dry, and papery. It feels like the life has been drained out of it. If you are nodding your head right now, I want you to know that you are not imagining this. And more importantly, you are not just getting old. There is a biological thief at work here, a specific mechanism that was turned off the day your cycle stopped. Most people think estrogen just handles reproduction, hot flashes, or maybe bone density. But the insider truth that few dermatologists sit down to explain in detail is that estrogen is your body's hydration manager. It doesn't just make skin soft, it makes it hold water. We are going to explore exactly why your skin dried up, focusing on the estrogen sponge, a biological reality that dictates how juicy and plump your skin cells are. We aren't just going to talk about the problem. I'm going to walk you through the science of how to turn that hydration factory back on using very specific, accessible tools like phytoestrogen creams. By the end of this conversation, you will have a clear step-by-step protocol to stop treating your skin like a dry surface and start treating it like the living, water-loving organ it is. Before we dive into the deep science of your skin's internal sponge, I'd love to invite you to join our community here. Consider subscribing if you want the kind of senior health tips that go beyond the basics and tackle the root causes of aging. And tell me in the comments below, where are you watching from today? And have you noticed this change in your skin texture recently? It helps me get to know you better. Now, let's get into the first and most critical concept you need to understand, the biology of the sponge. You might think that dry skin comes from a lack of oil, but in this stage of life, the real culprit is a lack of water retention. Deep in your dermis, you have cells called fibroblasts. Think of these as little factories. When you were 30, these factories were churning out a molecule called hyaluronic acid, or HA. You've probably seen HA on serum bottles, but your body makes its own. This molecule is magic. Scientifically speaking, hyaluronic acid is a glycosaminoglycan that is a humectant powerhouse, 2 inches fact. Hyaluronic acid can hold $3, $1,000 times dollar its own weight in water. 4, imagine a dry kitchen sponge sitting on the counter. It's small, hard, and shriveled. Run it under the tap, and it swells up, becoming soft, pliable, and heavy. That is exactly what hyaluronic acid does in your dermis. It grabs water from your blood supply and holds it there, keeping your skin plump. But here is the catch, and it is a big one. These fibroblast factories have on switches. And do you know what the finger is that pushes that button? Estrogen, specifically $17, beta-dollar estradiol. A study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology confirmed that estrogen significantly stimulates the synthesis of hyaluronic acid in the dermis. When you have plenty of estrogen circulating, the button is held down, the factory hums, and your skin stays spongy. But when ovulation stops, that finger lifts off the button. The factory goes quiet. The sponge dries out. This leads us to the reality of the menopause cliff, which is the next vital point we have to address to understand the urgency here. You might feel like this change happened overnight, and statistically, you aren't far off. The decline isn't a slow, gentle slope. It's a precipice. When estrogen drops, the degradation of skin collagen and the reduction of hyaluronic acid is rapid. According to research published in the International Journal of Dermatology, women lose about 30% of their skin collagen in the first 5 years of menopause. 5, that is a staggering number. 1/3 of your skin's structural integrity and water holding capacity vanishes in just 60 months. Imagine a mattress losing 30% of its stuffing. The fabric on top, your skin no longer fits tightly. It starts to sag and fold. This is why you see that crepey texture. It's not just gravity, it's deflation. You are losing the scaffolding and the water that fills the spaces between the scaffolding. I know that sounds alarming, and maybe even a little depressing. But I am telling you this so you understand that topical moisturizers that just sit on the surface are like painting a house that's falling down. They don't fix the structure. We need to go deeper. Now, speaking of surface fixes, we need to debunk a massive myth that I see causing so much frustration for women in our community, the just drink more water fallacy. How many times have you been told that if your skin is dry, you just need to drink another liter of water? You dutifully carry around your water bottle. You visit the restroom every 20 minutes, and yet your skin remains dry. Here is why. As we discussed, hyaluronic acid is the sponge. 6, if you pour a gallon of water onto a granite countertop, what happens? The water runs right off. It doesn't soak in. Without the sponge, without the hyaluronic acid, your skin cannot hold the water you are drinking. It simply passes through your system and out via your kidneys. A fascinating study in clinical, cosmetic, and investigational dermatology highlighted that while hydration is important for overall health, simply increasing water intake does not significantly improve skin hydration in people with damaged skin barriers or low HA levels unless the retention mechanism is fixed. You can drink the Atlantic Ocean, but if you don't have the estrogen signal sponge to trap that moisture in the dermis, you will simply be a well-hydrated person with dry skin. We have to fix the retention mechanism first. So how do we turn the factory back on without necessarily resorting to systemic hormone replacement therapy, HRT, which I know many of you are either unable to take or prefer to avoid? This brings us to the hero of our story, phytoestrogen creams. Specifically, we are looking at a compound called genistein. Genistein is an isoflavone derived from soy, but don't let the word soy fool you into thinking it's weak. 7 inches, the world of cell biology. Genistein is a master of disguise. It looks remarkably similar to your own estrogen. Here is the science of how it works. Your skin cells have receptors, specifically the estrogen receptor beta, ER, beta $8. You can think of these receptors like locks on a door. Genistein acts like a key that fits into that lock. It's not the original key estrogen, but it fits well enough to unlock the door and send a signal to the cell. That signal says, make more hyaluronic acid, make more collagen. A pivotal study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that genistein administration significantly increased the thickness of skin and boosted collagen production. By applying a cream containing genistein or other potent phytoestrogens directly to the face and neck, you are delivering that signal locally. You aren't flooding your whole body with hormones. You are just whispering to the skin cells, wake up, it's time to work. If you're finding this deep dive helpful, take a quick second to hit that thumbs up button. It tells me that you appreciate the detailed science and want more content like this. Moving beyond over-the-counter options, we have to discuss the gold standard prescription option that is often overlooked, topical estriol. Now, unlike estradiol, which is the potent estrogen that affects the uterus and breast tissue, estriol is often called the weak estrogen, 9. But in the context of skin, weak is actually safe and targeted. Estriol has a very short half-life and doesn't tend to enter the bloodstream effectively when applied to the skin, meaning it stays where you put it. For decades, we have known that topical estriol can reverse skin aging. 10, a landmark study from the University of Vienna, often cited as the definitive paper on this topic, showed that women who applied a topical estriol cream for 6 months saw their skin elasticity increase by approximately 48%, and wrinkle depth decreased significantly. 48% is not a small improvement. That is turning back the clock by years. The study also noted that there were no systemic hormonal side effects in the participants. If you have a dermatologist who is open-minded and understands menopausal skin, discussing a prescription for a compounded estriol face cream could be the most powerful step you take. It is literally replacing the missing worker in the factory. However, we can't just rely on creams. We have to support the system from the inside out, which brings us to the role of dietary phytoestrogens. While we are applying the signal topically, we want to provide the building blocks internally. This means incorporating foods like flax seeds, fermented soy like tempeh or miso, and red clover tea into your daily routine. But I want to be specific about the data here, so you know it's worth the effort. A double-blind placebo-controlled study published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition investigated the effects of soy isoflavones and a specific antioxidant mix on skin. After 14 weeks, the group consuming the isoflavones showed a statistically significant reduction in wrinkle depth and an increase in skin hydration compared to the placebo group. This suggests that bathing your cells in these plant compounds from the inside acts as a secondary support system, reinforcing the work your creams are doing on the outside. Imagine it like watering a plant. The cream is misting the leaves, but the diet is watering the roots. You need both for a truly lush result. Now, as we build this routine, we have to talk about the saboteur. You can use all the creams in the world, but if you are doing this one thing, you are actively destroying the sponge we are trying to rebuild. That saboteur is sugar, and the process is called glycation. I know, we love our sweets, but here is the hard truth. When you have excess sugar in your blood, it binds to proteins. Unfortunately, your skin's collagen and elastin are proteins. 1-1. When sugar binds to them, it forms what are effectively called AGEs, Advanced Glycation End Products. The acronym is perfect because that is exactly what they do. They aid you. Think of fresh collagen like a supple, bouncy rubber band. Glycation turns that rubber band into a brittle, dried out twig. If you pull it, it snaps. A study in the British Journal of Dermatology demonstrated a clear link between higher blood sugar levels and perceived age. Simply put, people with higher glucose levels looked older. 12. The sugar cross-links the collagen fibers, making them stiff and unable to hold the hyaluronic acid sponge structure. 13. So if you are serious about fixing that dry, thin skin, reducing refined sugar is non-negotiable. You are protecting your investment. Let's transition to a factor that often goes ignored because it feels invisible: cortisol and stress. In our society, we wear stress like a badge of honor, but your skin hates it. Cortisol is a catabolic hormone, meaning it breaks things down. 14, it is the antagonist to the anabolic building hormones like estrogen. When cortisol is high, it inhibits the repair processes in the skin and degrades the barrier function. 1-5. Have you ever noticed that when you are going through a particularly stressful month, maybe caregiving for a loved one or dealing with financial stress, your skin looks gray and papery? That is cortisol stealing resources. Research in brain, behavior, and immunity has shown that psychological stress delays skin barrier recovery in 16. It literally stops the skin from healing itself. While we cannot eliminate stress, we have to manage it as part of our skincare routine. 10 minutes of breath work or a gentle walk isn't just good for your mind. It lowers the cortisol spike that is eating your collagen. 17, think of relaxation as a skincare ingredient, just as potent as any serum. Finally, we arrive at the repair shift, which is your sleep. I know sleep can be elusive during menopause, but we have to fight for it because this is when the construction crew comes out. During the deepest phases of sleep, your body releases growth hormone. 18, this is the repair signal. It fixes the micro damage from the day. If you are sleeping 5 hours a broken night, your construction crew never shows up to work. A study conducted at Case Western Reserve University found that poor sleepers had significantly higher signs of intrinsic skin aging, more fine lines, uneven pigmentation, and slacker skin compared to good sleepers. 19, they also had a slower recovery rate from sunburns. The difference was stark. If you are spending hundreds of dollars on creams, but sleeping 4 hours a night, you are wasting your money. Prioritizing sleep hygiene, cool room, heavy blankets, magnesium supplements, if approved by your doctor, is essential to letting the estrogen mimicking creams do their job. So let's summarize the actionable protocol we have built together. We know now that the problem is the estrogen sponge, the hyaluronic acid drying up because the estrogen signal is gone. We know that drinking water isn't enough because the container is leaking. The solution is a multi-pronged attack. We use phytoestrogen creams with genistein or prescription estrol to flip the switch back on. We support this internally with dietary isoflavones. We stop the destruction by cutting sugar to prevent glycation, and we create the right environment for repair by managing cortisol and prioritizing deep sleep. This might seem like a lot of steps, but I want you to view it as a new chapter of self-respect. You are not fighting a losing battle. You are simply learning the new rules of engagement for your body. The old you ran on automatic pilot. The new you requires a bit of manual steering, but the vehicle is still capable of taking you beautiful places. There is a tremendous amount of power in understanding the mechanism. When you look in the mirror now, I don't want you to see old skin. I want you to see a biological puzzle that you now have the pieces to solve. You have the knowledge to signal your body to repair itself. You are not invisible, and your vitality is not a thing of the past. It is right here waiting for you to claim it. I want to challenge you today. Pick one of these strategies to start with this week. Maybe it's researching a genistein cream, or maybe it's cutting your sugar intake by half. Whatever it is, commit to it because your health is worth fighting for. If this video opened your eyes to why your skin has changed, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us reach more women who are looking for real answers, not just fluff. And before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever tried a phytoestrogen cream, or is this the first time you're hearing about it? I read every single comment, and I'd love to hear your experience. Remember, aging is inevitable, but looking and feeling dried out is optional. Let's turn that sponge back on. I'll see you in the next video.